Just as expected, 2019 bringing us more movies. In this video, I'm going to be walking you through my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2019. A couple things to know about this list. First, it's going to be very heavy towards the front of the year, but that should just be common sense because those are the movies we know more about than the second half of the year. Like, there are going to be some Oscar-nominated movies that are probably going to be on my top 10 end of the year list that we don't even know are going to exist yet. And so that brings me to housekeeping item number 2. This is not a list of movies that I think are necessarily going to be good, but just that I am anticipating. There are some movies on this list that we have trailers for and more details on. There are also some where it's just a mere concept, maybe with the director or an actor and just a basic story idea, and that alone is getting me excited for this movie. I actually did find it difficult, though, to narrow this list down to only 10 movies because surprisingly there are actually a lot of good movies coming out this year. And again, I think they're going to be good. Let's just get to it. Number 10. So number 10 is going to go out to Detective Pikachu. So I was a big fan of Pokemon back in the 90s, and seeing them live action just blew my mind. I will be honest, it kind of threw me off hearing Ryan Reynolds talk as Pikachu because I think we're so used to hearing him as Deadpool. But I think once you can accept that, this trailer looks interesting to say the least. Will it be good? I really don't know. But it's almost a miracle that we're even getting this movie because it's so specific. Live action Pokemon would have been interesting enough, but yet we throw such a specific plot that Pikachu is now a detective. I just don't know what's going to be in store for this movie. Number 9. So they've already changed the title on this movie a couple times, and I think as of right now, it's called A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. But this is going to be the live-action biopic on Mr. Rogers, starring Tom Hanks. Now, right now, we really don't know anything about this movie. We've seen the image, and we know it's about Mr. Rogers, but that's kind of it. And it's not as if every single Tom Hanks movie is good, but he's a really good actor, at least. There's really nothing else to say. Tom Hanks, Mr. Rogers, excited to see it. Number 8. Again, I don't know if this has an official title, but it's the new Joker movie. So far, everything I've seen just calls it the Joker, so that's what I'm going to be referring to it as of now. But it could be something completely different. Guess we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, Joaquin Phoenix, I would argue, is probably one of the best current actors out there. And now, I would have said the same thing about Jared Leto before he played his Joker. So basically, just because you're a good actor doesn't mean you can't ruin Joker like he did. I think this movie has potential. We saw a little bit of test footage of him just essentially walking around as the Joker, and we've seen a lot of the makeup that he's going to be using for the film. And I think there's another part of me that just really wants to see DC have some good movies. Number 7. Spider-Man Far From Home. Spoilers for Avengers Infinity War. Just skip ahead the next minute. But Spider-Man apparently died. And so a lot of people are kind of using the knowledge of his upcoming movie as a reason why Infinity War didn't work for them. Like, knowing that there's another Spider-Man movie coming out, it wasn't that effective, him dying. But he's still died. Whether or not he's coming back, we don't know what's going to happen in this movie specifically. And maybe this is a more Avengers Endgame discussion, but nevertheless, I need to know what happens to Spider-Man. Here's where I'm a little worried. Spider-Man Homecoming was very solid. Not the best Spider-Man movie ever. And we've seen an even better Spider-Man movie within the past 2 months. And so I'm kind of worried the Spider-Man bar has been raised too high that this movie isn't going to be as interesting. But the biggest push for why I'm anticipating this movie and why I made it to this list is seeing Jake Gyllenhaal play Mysterio. I think that's going to be amazing. And I do very much enjoy this kind of more high school Spider-Man, the ones that we never really did get in the other live action movies. So after Endgame, I cannot wait to see what is going to happen with Spider-Man in this movie. Number 6, The Lion King. Generally, I'm not on board with this whole phase of Disney just remaking all their movies live action, but it's The Lion King. And this voice cast looks incredible. Every single celebrity in this movie is the perfect person to play their character. And that trailer was just amazing. Like, the animation looks so good. The thing I'm most curious about is how much it's going to be a shot-for-shot remake, because let's be honest, that's essentially what the trailer felt like. Or how much they're going to make a new story or kind of put their own twist to it. That could either be really good or really bad. It's definitely going to be a big blockbuster. Disney loves to play with my nostalgia. So let's just move to number 5 so we can talk about that a little bit more. Number 5, we got more Disney. Toy Story 4. So this Toy Story trilogy, I would argue, is probably the strongest trilogy in movie history. The only one that I can see people arguing very strongly would maybe be the original Lord of the Rings trilogy. But even then, I would say Toy Story trilogy is a little bit stronger. It never happens where you can take any movie in the trilogy and have people that can adamantly defend why it is the best movie of that trilogy. Every single one is a complete masterpiece, and the story got wrapped up so well. So why are they making a 4th? I don't know, but I'm looking forward to it because I really trust them. Probably too much. So yeah, the sequels to Monsters, Inc. and Cars were just complete flops. Finding Dory and the Incredibles 2 was pretty much the same story told over again. They were solid, not as good as the originals. But come on, Toy Story. These are the sequels that Pixar has mastered. They can't be bad, right? I just need this to be good. They need this to be good. If they mess this up, they ruin a perfect trilogy. Maybe I should have just made a list of the top 10 movies I'm most worried about 2019, because this would be number one. But the two kind of teaser trailers we got looked awesome. Key and Peele are in it. That's awesome. I'm anticipating this movie, even though I do not sound like it right now. Number 4. 10 years ago, one of my favorite movies ever came out. Zombieland. And next year, we're supposed to get the sequel, Zombieland 2. So I don't know a thing about this upcoming movie. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to have all the original cast in it. And again, right now it's announced that it's going to be coming out this year. That could still be delayed. But right now, 2019, release date, I'm excited for it. The original Zombieland was so good. It was hilarious. It kind of really helped kick off this zombie phase that we're in. Like, this was before The Walking Dead. Zombies weren't really that popular 10 years ago. And the way that this movie portrayed it as being a comedy, but really dark, and had a lot of heart to it, surprisingly. The cast was incredible. I mean, unless you watched a lot of Superbad, this was a lot of people's first introduction to Emma Stone. This was before Jesse Eisenberg made some poor choices by playing Mark Zuckerberg and Lex Luthor. This movie was incredible, and I am so excited to see the next chapter of this story. Number 3, Us. So this is going to be the first movie to premiere that's on my list, because it comes out in like 2 months. Christmas Day, we were given a trailer, and this trailer looks incredible. It's the second film to be directed by Jordan Peele, and this guy knows what he's doing. In case you don't know, Get Out is by far my favorite movie of 2017. Everything about it was just beautiful. It was frightening, chilling, funny. It told you something. It actually had a message. And I love this kind of horror renaissance that we're in, where all these movies are kind of making a comeback, whether they're being remade or these new stories are being told. I think for so long, people kind of viewed horror movies as just not being very good, which they had a lot of merit in saying that. Jordan Peele had a huge part in Get Out, making it a mainstream movie. Like, we had a horror movie that was nominated for Best Picture of the Year. The guy has so much talent that I am so excited to see his next project, Us. So if you haven't figured out what number 1 or number 2 is yet, then you have not looked at any sort of list of upcoming movies. I feel like this is going to be a lot of people's 1 and 2s, but the question is, which one are you most excited for? And in case you still have no idea what movies I'm talking about, I'll save it. But let's start with number 2. Avengers Endgame. I don't even know what to say. Infinity War was so shocking. What they were able to do at the end of that movie is something that I didn't think was possible, especially by a franchise that is now owned by Disney. The thought of what's going to happen to these superheroes, who's going to survive, who's going to make it out, and where does this leave Avengers for the future movies? We have a lot more Marvel movies that are coming out, and they're continuing to expand this universe. So what happens to the original Avengers that we knew and loved for the past 10 years? There are so many questions that we have, and I cannot wait to see so many of them answered. There has been a trailer out for this movie. I have not watched it, and I'm trying my best not to see anything about it. So far, so good. I think it's been about a month, and I am spoiler-free. Have not seen a single image from that trailer. That's not true. I saw one image, and I'm upset about it. Besides that, nothing else. The only reason that I did put this as number 2 instead of number 1, and again, you're about to see what the number 1 choice is, but I think it's just because the Avengers is kind of something that we kind of know what's going to happen in a sense. And I don't mean specific plot points, like I don't know how it's going to end, I don't know who's going to live, who's going to die, but we've seen Marvel's superhero movies, right? There's a certain level of expectation where we know the types of emotions that we're going to feel, and even after seeing Infinity War, I feel like I'm even prepared for that. So again, not to just go off on why I don't want to see this movie, because it's number 2 of what I do want to see. I just feel like I need to explain myself for why it is not number 1. So what is number 1? Number 1 goes out to Star Wars Episode 9. So why is this movie number 1 on my list? Honestly, the biggest reason that this is number 1 on my list is because I don't know what's going to happen in this movie. We don't even have an official title for this movie. We know that they're making this movie, we know the cast in this movie, we know what happened in the other movies, but that's about it. Anything's up in the air. So when this trilogy first came out, I loved The Force Awakens. I thought it was great. It was a great tribute to every other Star Wars movie. It brought back old characters, introduced new characters, made us care about all those characters. And then The Last Jedi came, and it blew up Star Wars fandom. I feel like people think they had to kind of pick sides on which one of them was better. I personally don't think you need to be that decisive that you only like one of them. But the best thing that Last Jedi did that The Force Awakens did not do is it erased all the rules that Star Wars previously followed. At this point, literally anything could happen in Episode 9. Everything's on the table. Now, there still are a lot of questions about some, characters and plot points that The Last Jedi failed to answer. So I am hoping we get that, but I am so looking forward to seeing how this concludes. I'm not even the biggest Star Wars fan in the world, but you cannot deny the impact that these movies have on culture is huge. Every time one comes out, people are talking about it, except for maybe Solo. People didn't really talk much about Solo. But like, real Star Wars movies, people talk about that. The things that happen in this movie are going to be the things that we are telling our children years from now. The same way that everyone talks about the original trilogy, the same way that people mock the prequel trilogy, this generation for the first time is seeing the completion of their Star Wars trilogy, the trilogy of their generation. And this movie is going to summarize it all. That is why I am so excited to see it. So there you go. There's my top 10. Now, there's a lot of movies that I did leave out that I am still excited for. So I want you to comment below. What are you most excited to see that is on my list? What movies did I miss that you're looking forward to? Are any of these movies going to be good? Leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you like content like this. And I, of course, will see you next time.